Each and every one of you are an incredible, unbelievable spark of the divine. And I think that's the thing that keeps bringing me back to the study, the stuff that we do here is this reminder, is this gentle reminder of, hey, don't forget who you are. And so Unity does something a little bit different than in more traditional circles, and that is we believe in your inherent goodness. We believe in that each and every one of you has a spark of the divine, and this spark that we talk about is this amazing expression of God. And so this is what I say, is that we wake up and we think, well, who am I? Well, let me remind you who you are. You are a beautiful, incredible, fantastic, perfect reflection of God. I want you to understand that what literally happened was God was hanging out and going, hey, you know what? I think I want the expression of Jerry. I think I want an expression that looks a lot like Ian. I want an expression that's called Pam. I want to be an expression that really sounds and looks like Christina. And so God went, poof, and here you are. And you are executing it absolutely perfect. There's nothing that you've done wrong. You've never, ever, ever screwed that up. But that's not what we've been told. We've been told everything but that. We've been told that we are less than, that we were born in original sin, all the things. And all of us have a different story. Wouldn't it be fun to make a big long list up here one day as, okay, put all the stuff that you were told about yourself and look at that list and see what it would say. I would imagine that there would be a lot of the things that are similar, right? And I would imagine that there's some unique things and different things. Because most of us, not all, and so I'm not putting this on everybody, but most of us have been told that we were less than, and some version of that. And some of us actually have been told that, again, we were born in sin, that we're born in original sin, and therefore there was nothing we could do about it other than, well, be the sinners that we are. At least that was my upbringing, and that's what I believed, until all of a sudden I walked into Unity, and all of a sudden Unity said, nah, we don't believe that at all. In fact, we don't believe a lot of the stuff that goes along with the traditional message. But that doesn't mean that we don't love Jesus, because we do. It doesn't mean that we don't love God, because we do. It just means that we believe we have a different interpretation of what the message was. And I think that's what makes us so different and unique. And this is why I fell in love with it over 45 years ago, is because when all of a sudden I realized, wait a minute, God loves me unconditionally. Not follow the 10 rules and then you'll be loved. No. God loves me, period. There's no, and if you do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, or, the list of 10 or 20 or 30 or 40, depending on which theology you happen to be studying at the time or what you were taught when you were a kid. And I just love the opportunity to go back and fall in love with God. Because before I had all of that stuff put inside of me, I actually had a beautiful relationship with God. As a little kid, I loved God. I loved going outside and playing with the trees. I loved being in nature. Because I felt connected. I felt like there was this thing that was going inside of me that I just knew I was connected to something bigger than myself, and I loved it. And then all of a sudden I started going to a more traditional teaching, and then all of that went out the window. And this incredible bond, this incredible relationship I had with God was gone. Because I didn't think I was loved, and I thought I was screwed up, and I thought I had to follow the rules, and I thought I was always breaking the rules, and I had to tell somebody about it, and all the things. Until all of a sudden, one day, I walked in these doors, and I was like, no, that doesn't have to be the way it works. And that's why I've never left. Because at Unity, we allow you to play. I want you to think about your own spiritual development and growth, your own awakening, as a great big playground. Because to me, that's what this is. It's a great big playground. And you've got all these different things you can go play with. You can go look at. If you want to do a deep dive into metaphysics, you can do a deep dive into metaphysics. If you want to go and just meditate and learn how to be awesome at meditating, do that. If you want to dive into whatever you want to dive into, go do it. Go for it. Because what we believe, honestly, is when you slow down enough and listen to what's inside of you, we all have the peace inside of us. It's like that homing device that I always talk about that's tapping you on the shoulder, just saying, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. If you follow me, I will lead you home. And whether that's a class that you take or a practice that you do, whatever it is, you are going to be led home when you start to listen to your heart and your soul. And we all have that. We all have it. It's your gift from God. It's yours. And when you start to engage with it and you start to let go of all of the understandings that you think you have about God, who and what God is, and you let go of all the understandings of who and what you think you are, and you just zip it. And I mean it, zip it. And just let that relationship do what that relationship needs to do without you being in the way, without your ego being in the way, without anything being there. Watch what starts to happen. Now, I'm not going to tell you that that's super easy. I'm not. Why? Because everything's up here. And this thing's constantly running, trying to tell you everything that you're not. How many people have that experience? One or two? Yeah, constantly, right? This thing won't shut up, or it's hard to. But when you really start to engage with it and you really start to listen to what this thing is trying to tell you you are, it's almost comical. How many people have that experience when you really listen to what it's trying to tell you is going on? It's unbelievable what it's trying to tell you. But it's there. And I think that's the thing that makes this experience so much fun, is that we slow down enough to start to hear what the voice is, or what the voices are in some cases, and we start to do something that we were never allowed to do as a child. And do you know what that is? We get to question it. You can't do that as a kid. You had to listen to mom and dad or whoever. But we actually invite questions. We love questions. And we love you to experience your own walk, your own questions. And the other thing is, and I'll always tell you this, and I know it's going to sound funny from the guy up front, but I'm never going to sit there and tell you I got all the answers. But I do know where all the answers are. And guess where all the answers are? Right there. That's where all the answers are, folks. Every single one of you has everything that you need right here. That's the truth. And I don't care if you're 10 or if you're 110. That's where we go. Everything goes through the heart. Everything goes through the heart. So don't forget that. Don't forget that.